Okay guys, as you might have guessed from the title, I'm gonna make some classic 90s house steps in Serum. I don't wanna make this intro any longer. This is what we're gonna create in this tutorial. Ready? Let's jump straight into FL Studio. Okay, so we load up Serum, and the magic to creating these classic house steps is to create chord sounds in the MIDI. So that means when we're pressing one note, we basically need to create a chord when we press only one note in the keyboard. And luckily, we have 3 oscillators at our disposal in Serum. So if we start from the beginning, I'm going to use the sub oscillator as our root note. So that means that we're going to select the sawtooth, and then we're going to go and remember to go to the filtering, and we're just going to enable the filtering for all of the different oscillators. And then we're going to select the filter. We're going to set that to the German LP low pass filter on the MISC. For oscillator A, we're going to stick with the default waveform, but we're going to turn up the semitone +7. So this means that if we press the C here, we play the note 7 semitones above, and that is the G. So that's pretty cool. But where we get that distinct sound from the classic house chords is to create a minor or a major chord. We're going to create a minor chord. So we're going to go to oscillator B. I'm going to use the basic MG. We're going to turn up the wavetable position to up here. We're also going to add a little bit of level. So now the funny part is to create this minor chord. So we're going to turn the semitone up to +3. We start to get these chords. And this is pretty cool because now we can play, by just pressing one note, we can play some chords that are actually not in the scale that we're playing in. So let's say that we are playing in C minor. We can actually play some chords that are not in C minor. So now we have like the chords in place. Now I want to sculpt the sound. So if we go to oscillator A, I want to set up my unison to 5, put the detune to around here. So we get like a little bit of oscillator spread. Next, I want to go and add a little bit of modulation to the sound. So I want to modulate the wavetable position here of oscillator B. So this knob here. And I'm going to use the LFO1 to do that. So just assign LFO1 to the wavetable position and then add this amount of modulation. And then I want to put this into unsynced mode. So turn off the BPM. And then I'm going to set the rate to around here. So just a relatively slow rate. So if I play, you can see that the oscillator the waveform is changing, and that's just to give it a little bit of movement and modulation to the sound. Then I almost forgot to add the noise oscillator, and that's because I like to add a little bit of top noise on top of the sound. So going for let's just see, the bright white, I'm gonna put this to one-shot mode and then turn up the random phase because I just want to have random phasing hits every time I press the note because I just like that randomness. So we're going to set the level to around here. Okay, so now we're ready to play around with the envelopes. So I'm going to go to envelope 2 because envelope 2 is going to modulate some knobs here for me. So I'm going to shape the envelope with sustain all the way down. I'm going to add a little bit of release around here. Then I'm going to turn down the decay a little bit so we get like a short pluggy envelope. So now I'm going to assign this envelope 2 to the bright white noise oscillator. That just means that we get this. If I turn up the level, maybe also the cutoff, you can hear like we get this white noise here. This is obviously a little bit too much, so we're just going to turn the amount down a little bit so we get something like here. Then we're going to go and assign envelope 2 to the cutoff of the filter. I'm going to set the cutoff frequencies to around here, and then I'm going to add this amount of modulation, like envelope modulation. And I also want to increase the resonance for the filter because I want that more like gnarly, in your face kind of filtering, you know, something like that. And then we can also turn up the drive to get a more gritty sound because this is old school house. That sounds pretty cool. Nice. Okay, so the last thing that we want to do is just go to envelope 1, which is the amplitude envelope. So just sculpting the overall of the sound. I'm going to turn down the sustain a little bit, something around here. And then I'm going to add a little bit of release to the sound. And then just a little bit of decay. So something like this. That's already sounding pretty cool in my opinion. Okay, so one last thing that you can do to add a little bit of extra character to your sounds is to go and tune using the fine tuning here in the different oscillators. So I'm going to turn the fine tuning down to around -15 and then also do it the opposite way here for the other oscillator. And that basically just means that we're just slightly taking the oscillators out of tune, just slightly. And it's just giving it a little bit more like it's drifting, like with analog synth. I think they're doing the same thing. Like it's not like mathematically in exactly on the same value. So it just drifts a little bit, I think. And to me, it just gives it a little bit more like of a analog vibe in a way. I hope that makes sense. So if I turn it way up, you can start to hear that it's getting a little bit too much out of tune. Then we're ready to jump into some effects. So I want to start off with a chorus. And I'm basically just going to use the default settings in Serum. I'm just going to turn the mix down a little bit. Then we're going to add some distortion. And here I love to add the tape saturation. And then just turn down the mix a little bit. I think like around here. And just put down the drive to maybe 15% because I don't want it to be too much. Then we're going to add some delay. I'm just going to put this to 1/8. I'm going to put the feedback down a little bit because I don't want to have too long of delay tails. I'm going to put this to ping pong mode, and then I'm going to make this EQ shape here like this so I don't get like too much like low end going on here. Then we're going to add some reverb. I'm going to put this to a hall reverb. I'm going to put the size up, put the decay down to around here. And then we're going to add a little bit of low cut because I don't want this to mess up in the lower range of the sound like this. And mix wise, I'm just gonna have it like just around 16%. And then I'm gonna just finish it off with a compressor, just gluing together stuff. I'm actually just using the default settings and just putting up the gain a little bit. And then I'm always minding the meters up here to make sure that I'm not clipping. Pretty cool actually, to be honest. And this riff that I made, I actually just played it on my MIDI keyboard, just trying to figure out what notes sounded good to me. Just a matter of just playing around in my opinion. Okay, that's actually it for the sound in Serum. You can download this preset for free in the link in the description down below. But I just think you should try to mess around with the different knobs in this patch. Try to maybe increase the attack of the filter envelope, like the envelope 2, that's modulating the filter cutoff, and the level amount for the noise oscillator. Like try to listen to what it does if we increase the attack. Like you can really sculpt the sound by just trying to tweak different knobs. I've actually made a small track idea so you can hear like these house chord steps in a context with a small beat idea. Pretty cool, in my opinion. Okay guys, that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you like it, it means so much to me if you smash that like button or even subscribe to the channel. If you want to support this channel even further, you can go and check out some of my sample packs and preset packs on my web shop. The link is also in the description down below. So I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Peace.